we last week or a couple of episodes ago talked about, Clayton, whether you need to see the Taylor Swift film.
Okay.
So Taylor
Let's just get
Swift,
to this.
the Eras Tour, the movie,
Yeah.
coming out Friday, October 13th. Going to be a biggest movie of the fall. Could open at 100 million plus. Who knows? By the time we get
Will
close
open
to it,
100 million plus.
Will open 100. This could be Barbie situation in which by the time we get to a few days out, this movie's tracking at 130, 140, 150. Who knows? Either way, biggest movie ever. We were talking about, do you need to see this in the theaters? Because you have been much more, let's just say, selective about what you go to see in movie theaters.
Yes.
You've passed on a lot of the big summer movies.
True.
And we talked about, should you go see this? And we did put up a Twitter X poll on
that. Great. Thank you for saying. You should have led with that.
So, well, here we go. We put up a Twitter X poll, and by we, I mean Wannabe senior intern Christopher and Jack. And I'm sure Jack, helped him, but we'll never know about it because he reports to Christopher. So, we don't care.
A lot of Jack talk that I'm just not too happy about right now.
So the poll went up on @theboboyspodcast on Twitter X, and the votes are in. And Clayton, 80% of the respondents did say Clayton needs to see the Taylor Swift movie in theaters. Only 20% said he did not have to see it.
Okay.
So
was there only two options? There was only two options.
Only two options.
Okay.
Either you see in the theater or you don't see in the theater. 80% of the respondents, Clayton, you got to see in the theater. So you wanted a poll. You wanted to hear what the people thought, and the votes are in. So, Clayton, I pose it to you. Do you go with the will of the people, or do you deny the will of the people? Do you deny the votes?
No. It was a clean voting process.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Twitter X, trusted source.
Yep.
Right? Never been a bot on there. And so I say, yeah, of course. I mean, after we look into, what the votes were, where they came from, was there any sort of shenanigans? Once I figure out that the votes are really votes and they are actually legitimate, then I will do what they say. And so that's up to Jack and that's up to Christopher to do a little bit of digging to see, okay, was there bots involved? What was the situation here?
Wait a second.
Were there more people? Were there people voting twice or multiple times?
Wait.
Because I only take it if it's one per person vote, because that's fair. So, I mean, after a very rigorous, after a very rigorous, delving into this data and these numbers, I will go by what the poll says.
So you are, and I think I am glad this is being recorded right now, because this is something that may end up in court, to be honest. But you are saying that you're out here talking to Wannabe senior intern Christopher, talking to Wannabe junior intern Jack.
No, I'm not talking to Jack. I'm talking to Christopher. And then he will tell Jack what I said to him.
Oh, okay. So you admit there, when you talk to Christopher, you're implying he needs to talk to Jack. But you are telling the people who are meant to verify the votes, you're to Wannabe senior intern Christopher, who needs to verify these votes. You're telling him to look into it, but that is implying look into it in the way that you want it to come out.
No, that is not. That is your implication. What I'm saying is
that is the implication.
I want to know. No, it's not. I want to know if the votes are legitimate. However you figure that out, you figure that out. If it is truly 80-20 when they do the investigation, I will do it.
You're calling for an investigation.
Now, if it turns out that the investigation happens, there's some flim-flamming going on here, and it were to flip-flop, I would then also do what it says, okay? Once we figure out what the real votes were, then I
Okay,
will
so you're
actually
already
do.
saying these may not be the real votes.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying hypothetically, if there is some flim-flamming going on, then those votes that exist now are not the real votes. So therefore, there will be real votes that I can then take into account and go by, which I said I was willing to do, but I'm only willing to go by legitimate votes that have been rigorously checked.
Rigorously. So it needs to be rigorously checked.
Yeah, even if it is an easy process, it should be rigorous for Christopher.
Okay.
Like, it should be difficult even if it's easy. Do you understand what I mean when I say that?
Who are these real votes in this Twitter X poll about whether you need to see the movie that
That's
you
for
plan
them
to
to
bring
find
in?
out. That's for Christopher to find out. I need to know who the real votes are. These could very well be the real votes. There is a very, I wouldn't say a large chance, but there's a chance that these votes are real. Okay. But if they're not real, I need to go by the real ones. That's all I'm saying. So
And
this is a lot of talk for something that is just how people do these things. Like,
how, in your mind, as you talk to your followers and as you talk to wannabe senior intern Christopher, who currently does, he reports to both of us, but he, it's a dotted line reporting to you. How likely do you think it is at this point that those are real votes that were cast?
why is that my worry? I mean, that's not my worry.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm
You think
talent.
they are
That's
real
just the
votes?
facts, right?
Right.
So if they are, they are. But I'm not the one who's. It's not up to me to do that. It's not
Okay.
up to me to decide what's real and what's not real.
Right.
You
It's
know,
up to Christopher. And you give wannabe senior intern Christopher full authority to make this call, right? You will say right here
after a
on air.
rigorous process, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we should have him on after he goes through the process of verifying these votes.
Okay. But it's up to him. His call is the final call, because I will not in any way influence wannabe senior intern Christopher's call when
Well, why
he
would you even
calls.
say you're not going to? That wasn't even a question, but now you're saying you're not going to. Why would you even bring it up?
Well,
So
because
now
I
that
want to make
makes me
sure you're
think if
not
there's some
going to.
fishiness.
You're not going to.
No.
Okay. Great.
What
Great. That's
influence
all.
would you have? That's the thing. If these are legitimate votes, you have no influence. So therefore, you even bringing up the fact that you're not going to get involved, what does that even mean? Why would you even bring that up?
I'm
Now,
not the one
I'm feeling like there's something going on.
I'm not the one who called for a rigorous investigation into a poll, which to
If
me
I'm going to
was
make a
just
life
already
decision,
verified. Yeah.
listen, I said I would make a decision that affects my life based on a X poll. Okay.
The Twitter X poll. Yes.
If that is the case, of course, I'm going to make sure that they're legitimate votes and
Mm-hmm.
that each one only came from one verified IP address. That's all I'm saying. And
So
I don't think that's too much to ask.
wait, so wannabe senior intern Christopher now has to figure out, he has to check IP addresses on this
Mhm.
poll, or else to you the vote is not legitimate.
And VPNs, they get thrown out.
So
Because
okay.
anybody could vote from any. You say that they're anybody voting there, and it's someone could have a VPN and they could hop around the globe and say Clayton needs to go see this movie. I don't find that to be fair.
Well, international votes were always supposed to be legitimate votes.
Yeah, they're legitimate as long as it's not somebody that is in the continental United States that's voting in Sweden through a VPN. Then that's thrown out.
Yeah, I do think this is going to be a big issue, because I just
Not for
trusted
me.
the poll and the election day results. I was always in favor of whatever was called on election day, which is what our
Doesn't
interns
matter
did.
what
Oh,
you do, you think, because it doesn't affect you, buddy boy.
I mean, I'm part of this show.
You
And
are.
I was trusting the election day results and the people who called it, and our interns called it. That was on our official prep document for this episode, is that they called it, and I fully supported their call, but it seems like you do not support their election day call for whether you should see the Taylor Swift film in theaters.
I say verify the IPs and I'm there.
Verify the IPs. All right, this is it. Has become something that I thought was an election day result announcement, but it is now a fully ongoing investigation and an ongoing story for future episodes of the BO Boys. And I have no choice but to cover this
There's no story. There's no story. This is something that can go on in the background while I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is talking about the box office.
Right. So you want this to happen in the background now. You don't want this to be covered.
No, there's no
And
reason it should be covered because
yeah,
your coverage of it could affect the results because for some reason you're acting as if you have some sort of sway, which makes me leery. And
I have no sway. Neither of us should have any sway or exert any sway.
Of
I
course
just want to
not. But
cover
you
this.
saying, "Oh,
I
I
just
won't
want
get
to cover
involved."
this.
I won't get involved. And it's like, yeah, no one asked you to, and no one thought there'd be a way for you to get involved until you said you're not going to get involved, which makes me think that you could get involved, which I don't want you to be involved.
Right. I'm just covering the story here.
Okay, great. That's fine.
So more to come on this developing story, developing investigation, and whether the election day results will be honored and whether Clayton will indeed see the Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, the movie, in movie theaters. 80% of the popular vote says that he should. So we will see. So
At this time it does.
at this
At
time.
this time.
So